Good morning, Malcolm Nance.
What's good about it?
Did you endure the State of the Union?
You know what? The only saving grace about last night is that A&E had a first 48 murder marathon going on. And so what I did was I watched, accurate investigations of people who were held to account for their crimes. And I avoided the State of the Union peripherally. So I, of course, allowed my followers and other pundits to send me things, but I didn't get that stink on me.
Yeah, good for you. Good for you. You were tweeting, as you do. Master Chief or is Master Chief your dad?
Master Chief is my dad.
So you're just chief. Okay.
Senior chief.
As a Navy man, you said, wow, men of honor still exist. To the headline, top Navy SEAL officer resigns after apparent disagreements with Trump. There's got to be some reclaiming of honor. This is why I was glad people walked out of the State of the Union or didn't show up. We cannot normalize this. And in this case, of course, it's him pardoning war criminals, right?
Well, it's been done.
Yeah.
The normalization is complete. Yesterday, Donald Trump turned the State of the Union into a campaign rally. The news media was critical in the opinion sections this morning. But, what we didn't see was a New York Times headline this morning that says, Trump lies throughout speech.
Yeah.
Right?
Entire wall of lies. I mean, exactly.
And so now you have these, they're hawking these polls that for the first time, Gallup has them at 49%. And then you have, compare that to the disaster that occurred in Iowa, doesn't give anybody any optimism here. So that being said, all I know is that so long as we, the status quo goes from here, because today he's going to get another victory. He's going to be acquitted from the impeachment. And, our rapid decline into autocracy is almost complete. It will only take the Democratic Party to melt down and then for this election to complete the catastrophe.
Malcolm, that's why you are always here to sound the warning, to knock some heads. The headline this morning, Trump allies use Iowa to sow distrust in the voting system. The president's sons and campaign officials are pushing disinformation that the Democratic vote was, quote unquote, rigged. Say it with me. David Jolly, former Republican, said, I would say to my Democratic friends, don't feed into Donald Trump's narrative. What's important is the integrity of the results, not the timing of the results. In the end, we will have a winner and delegates will be assigned. One more tweet, Malcolm. Jennifer tweets, hard to take Republican criticism of the Iowa caucus seriously. They've actually canceled primaries to protect Donald Trump's fragile ego. At least the Dems let people vote. And finally, Rachel Maddow said, 3-part mini thread. It's an Iowa thing, not just an Iowa Democrats thing. In 2012, GOP Iowa caucuses were, quote unquote, won by Romney. A few days later, they were won by Santorum. Then a few months later, they were won by Ron Paul. So you're right. The Democrats in disarray Iowa was a screw up for sure, Malcolm, but it only has the power that we continue to give it by pretending it's just us and just this time. I remember the 2012 Republican Iowa caucus, don't you?
Sure. And who won the Iowa caucus in 2016? Right? Bernie Sanders.
Okay,
won
yeah.
that.
I couldn't even remember. By the
won
way,
it
I
in
put out some
you know-
misinformation. I'm sorry. I kept saying that John Kerry was dead last in Iowa. I'm sorry. I meant in early polling. He did win Iowa in the end, but I'm sorry. What I was saying is, obviously, Malcolm, this race is so fluid, and we were talking about early polling showed Howard Dean running away with it, and then John Kerry ended up winning it. But I'm sorry, I didn't mean to say he lost the. But that's what I'm saying is we are just beginning this, and you just keep sounding the warning about all we can do is our part in this, right?
Absolutely. And, this is where we are now subject to a unified enemy, a unified opposition that is fully intent on destroying, us as a party, the 60% of the United States who do not support Donald Trump, by creating a false 1984 Orwellian reality that Donald Trump is omnipotent and that he is beloved and, he is essentially a Kim Jong-un style media out there that is applauding him
Right.
and everything that he does, and that the hard reality of what he has actually done um, is is absolutely abhorrent. But more to the point, forget about them, because we know what the value of those people are. We know what the value of the typical Republican voter is. It was Joe Walsh, of all people, former Republican, former Obama critic, who had a thread this morning on Twitter where he said he spoke to 3,000 Republicans and he was booed every time he said Trump is a liar, Trump is this, Trump is that. And his assessment was they don't care. You cannot get those voters anymore. You might pull off the wings some of the former Obama voters, maybe that's
Right.
77,000 union voters, but he has said these people love what he is doing. They love that he cages children. They love that he insults blacks and women and Latinos and Latinx and everyone else. They love his splitting America apart to create a tribe in which democracy and the phrase e pluribus unum from many one will be erased from our legacy.
Yeah.
They are creating a new
I
America.
mean, how many times
And
was he going to say illegal alien in his speech, right? And not talk about the vast majority of violence today, which is white supremacist, right wing terrorists armed to the teeth, right?
and he's never going to. It was the columnist Danielle Moody Mills who said that what you are looking at is you are looking at the final resurgence of the Confederate South.
Yeah.
You are looking at the tribalism that existed in the Civil War is now embodied not in North versus South,
Yeah.
in white males versus all others, and that they have succeeded where Nixon couldn't succeed with the Southern strategy. It's not about South anymore,
Yeah.
it's about everywhere.
Yeah.
And that they are hell bent in one, getting revenge, and two, they intend to destroy American democracy as it has existed since the founding of this nation, and they will re-engineer it.
Yeah.
One more quote. Jason Johnson the other day was going at it right after James Carville had sounded the alarm that most Americans cannot and will not vote for a socialist for president, and which is why the Trump campaign is now misleading people and put out a call that Republicans in South Carolina are to go, it's an open primary, are to go and vote for Bernie Sanders.
Yes.
Because they feel that Democrats have gotten rid of Joe Biden themselves, along with Trump's false accusations.
Thank you.
So, Jason,
You know what? Sorry, Malcolm. I'm so sorry. I want to let you speak but this is so important. It's what you've been warning about through 3 books, and what we keep trying to say. Saying Russia helped Bernie in 2016 is not bashing Bernie or his followers. We're talking about what Russia did that they felt. Obviously, Clinton was the strongest candidate, and we're trying. But if you listen to his speech last night, Malcolm, it's what you've been warning about. If Bernie is the candidate, they're going to do this to Bernie. This isn't an anti-Bernie or pro-Bernie thing.
Listen.
It is that we listen. What worries me, Malcolm, is Russia's already, I think, in our system and done damage. I think they thought Kamala Harris was the biggest threat, a fantastic female black candidate that would get Obama-level black turnout. They took her out. I mean, she was, as you know, the #1 target of Russian bots. Now, as you say, I don't know to what degree they've taken Joe Biden down. But what I'm saying is, if Bernie's the nominee, he's next. We have to stay together in this. Like, this is not right.
It's not the Russians that are hitting Joe Biden. First off, I've never supported the Iowa caucus or the New Hampshire primary.
Right.
No offense to you guys. I've spoken in both places. I live near New Hampshire here in upstate New York. But you're 98% white states.
Yeah.
98%. You do not reflect the Democratic Party.
Yeah.
So those 2 campaign contests are fun, but you know what? South Carolina is the real benchmark. If you cannot get inroads to the base of the Democratic Party, but the Trump campaign understands this. Jason Johnson on MSNBC called the speech a micro-targeting campaign in
Yeah.
which he went after Republicans are no longer satisfied with pulling in 12% of the black male voter. They're shooting for 20% in this election. And they're using three things: misogyny,
Yep.
they're using what have you got to lose again? And now they're using this whole crime bill stuff to micro target blacks, and of course school choice, in order to get them to
Right.
destroy their own school systems.
Right.
Those things are being used. But here's one thing that I think is the most critical thing you said. And if you're a Bernie supporter, awesome, because if Bernie's the nominee, I will throw my back into it, because he's
Yeah.
going to need all the help he can
Yeah,
get.
me
There's
too.
a reason he was never criticized about his dabblings in the Soviet Union, because these are the trump cards that will destroy him when the entire Republican machine comes in. A guy who is sucking up to a KGB officer is going to use a honeymoon in the Soviet Union when he went to the Soviet Union himself. But Jason Johnson said this.
I mean, here's the thing: Trump and Fox News and all of that, getting behind Bernie right now. Like, understand, they're not your friends. The avalanche, as you say, of ageism, anti-Semitism, anti-socialism avalanche that he's going to be hit with. I mean, you have to understand, these are not your friends, right?
No, and they have weaponized the Bernie bro. They know that these people will destroy the Democratic Party from the inside, because they saw it already with Hillary Clinton. They will now, the bots and the trolls and the entire Republican machine will now go to supporting whatever they say. But I want to tell you this famous quote from Jason Johnson yesterday. He said about Bernie Sanders, revolutionaries often want to be right. They don't necessarily want to win. And that way, and Republicans, they know that to change history, to rewrite history, you need to win. So they are taking power, they use power, and they will destroy what we think is left of the United States. I don't care who you're voting for in this primary.
Yeah.
I don't. What I care about is your destructive attacks on other Democrats. Hey, maybe I've been a little guilty of it. I'm going to stop that today.
Yeah.
All right.
Well,
right now,
yeah,
whoever wins, whatever, until this entire nomination process is over, that's the way it's going to be.
Yeah.
If Warren wins, that's it. If Buttigieg wins, that's it. This is the last chance of democracy in America.
Yep.
We go to dictatorship and autocracy, and Trump is going to use every tool in the box from this point onward to destroy what we value and destroy us.
Yes, I have said it.
Are helping.
Yeah, we are tired. Pick someone. We will absolutely just as enthusiastically support anybody. Michael McFaul, one last one, former ambassador, Malcolm, just with a word about this. He said, in saying a kind word about the historic milestone of an openly gay presidential candidate winning/doing well in Iowa last night, I've been attacked by Sanders supporters accusing me of anti-Semitism. Oy vey. Okay, leaving this debate, going back to my national security lane. As you say every week, cut it out, everybody. Right? I mean, I have defended Hillary. I've defended Bernie in this whole thing. Cut it out. Cut the 2016 out, or we are headed to disaster.
We are, because we cannot get together a simple, unified message of what we offer America. Trump offered it last night. Peace, love, happiness, returning of veterans, blah, blah, blah. They are a propaganda machine. They lie. I can't even get people to do a single unified hashtag, right? Mm-hmm. People won't, you'll put it out there like Trump lies. Nobody uses it. These people are propagandists. They are experts in mass concentration of the big lie. And then they reverse it and claim we do it in terms of projection. We must unify.
Well, that was a campaign rally, and you see what he's going to run on. He's going to run on a solid wall of lies and Russian disinformation.
But it's everything his base wants to hear, and they'll believe it because it comes out of his mouth, whether it's real or not.
But the problem is that I see people go on Twitter and they'll post memes and they'll have these little mini debates instead of just the simple phrase, Trump is a liar.
Yes.
Hashtag. Every word, You should have this as a national campaign, right? This is the end of democracy. This is the end of America as you know it. I'm not saying that. I'm not an alarmist by any stretch. But by God, I know a threat when I see it to my fundamental way of life. And you're talking to a boy, a man that was raised as a child in Philadelphia around Independence Hall. I take it seriously, and I won't let it go down without a fight. And this whole split between young people want revolutionary change and old people want, status quo, it's all going away because of your infighting.
Yeah, exactly. Malcolm, the clarion call as usual. All right, from near the Liberty Bell.
Yes.
Thanks so much. We'll see you next week, honey.
Okay,
All
I hope
right,
so.
all right. Bye now.